This is about building capacity because you've seen people that it's very easy for them to be happy and have joy and be creative. It's not that they're better or stronger. It's that they were allowed. They have a subconscious program that says they were safe doing that. Most of us, I know with myself, um, my program was it's not safe. Being yourself, having joy meant something bad was going to happen. I was doing something wrong, right? And it was just more safe to shut down. You're numb and disconnected. That's more safe than feeling joy. So for some of us, I really want to mention that this topic can be scary. Who would have thought, right? Joy and happiness could be scary, but yeah, if every time you were happy, somebody made you feel shame, somebody made you feel like a bad person, somebody attached to a childhood wound where you felt bad or unworthy, which in childhood meant your survival was on the line, right? Because if I'm bad, I'm going to be rejected, I'm going to be abandoned, I can't take care of myself. That can be scary. When it comes to this topic and almost any topic, I just want to show you guys, this is like our nervous system. A healthy nervous system has an ebb and flow, right? We go into sympathetic, we go into parasympathetic. Trauma, this is a traumatized nervous system. It's constricted, it's tight, everything is scary. And we don't go from this to this. Building capacity means we might have a really small trauma vortex. That's it. And then little by little, it gets a little bit bigger. And with time, we help our nervous system to get here. We don't strong arm it. It's not about willpower and forcing our nervous system. It's really retraining and helping our nervous system to feel safe doing things it wasn't safe to do. So that's what we want to do with this topic. And it's not a race. It's not oh, we have to get to joy. Because honestly, joy is just one human emotion. Like the full range of emotions is what we want to be able to feel. This is just one that we tend to leave out when we're working through trauma. We don't realize that this is what helps us to start coming out of the trauma loops that we can get stuck in when we're healing and we feel like it's a full-time job, and it can be overwhelming to the body. When we start teaching our nervous system to go outside a little bit to get that counter vortex, it actually helps the healing not be so overwhelming. Okay. But we want to work with our nervous system. So if when we start, our nervous system's like this and it barely wants to budge, that's where you want to meet your nervous system at. If somebody else's nervous system is like this, we don't compare. It's not a race. It's not, who's better or who's worse. It's meeting your nervous system where it's at, and then with compassion, working with it. So that being said, the reason why it's challenging, this topic, the reason why it causes our nervous system to constrict is because our brain is basically like a projector. Everything that we learned in the past, it projects into the future because it's already learned this stuff, right? If I touch a stove and it's hot, I don't have to retouch a stove and burn myself to know that it's hot. It's like, oh, the brain's like, oh, don't do that. Well, if in our past, it's like, don't be happy, don't think of yourself, don't, be creative, don't be authentic, then it's projecting it into the future. If in the past we weren't allowed to be happy and our body's constricting, right? That's remembered threat, right? Your body's like, oh, last time you were happy, this happened. It's remembering it, and it's basically saying, don't do it again to try to avoid that. For some of us, we may not be in the relationship anymore, and that can still be happening in our nervous system. And so we want to update our nervous system in that case. For those that are still in it, we're going to learn, I think in week 2, next week, what is in our power to work with as well. Because there's a learned helplessness as well that with abuse that we want to start helping our nervous system to realize can be different now that we're adults.
Is it time for questions yet or no?
Not yet. Give me a few minutes. Let me check the time. Yeah. So when it comes to this topic of joy, of honestly, it's just living, right? Instead of survival. We can't be happy or feel joy, peace, creativity when we're in survival because our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is on. Like if there's an animal about to attack me, there's no way I'm going to be like, oh, what a beautiful sunset. It's not going to happen, right? So we want to start helping our nervous system. Now, the nervous system, because our brain is like a projector, it doesn't tend to help us to know what to do. Our subconscious is so much like a computer. It just keeps on showing us more of what we don't want. So it's like, oh, look at that person. See how they acted? That's why you're not safe. And that's why you're not safe. And it's always reaffirming the negative. So the first thing we want to do is start helping our subconscious mind to start having something different to look at. If we don't have a different picture, our brain will just give us more of the past and find present circumstances that reaffirm it. Does that make sense? And by the way, the brain loves choices. Like we don't have to strong arm it either. We don't have to be like, no, shut this down. We have to view it like this. We can start learning, oh, there's my brain saying it's not safe. What would it look like if it was? And we start letting our brain see two different things. So I have some questions. I encourage you, you can write down your answers. I don't think we have time to, it would have been fun to popcorn share it, but I do want to leave space for questions. So you can either write it in the chat box if you'd like to do that, or write it down for yourself. But to help the brain to start having that choice, the first question, if I truly believe that I'm safe to feel joy, passion, and or creativity, what would I see myself doing that I'm not doing now?
Michelle, can you repeat the question, please?
If I truly believed I was safe to feel joy, passion, and or creativity, what would I see myself doing? So visually, what would I see myself doing that I'm not doing now? That's the first question. Buy a skateboard, travel, have more hobbies, love it, public speaking, joyfully creating art, going out with friends. So yeah, really write it down. Now, if you can for yourself, write down 3 things. That would be awesome. 3 things you would see yourself doing that you're not doing now. Number 2, what would I hear people saying about me? And what would I hear myself saying about me? So think of your inner dialogue, right? What would the thoughts of that person be? And healthy people. What would healthy people be saying about you? And again, if you can put down 3 different things, would be great. And the last question, what would be the underlying emotion that you would be feeling if you saw yourself doing those things and you were hearing these things being said by positive people and through a healthy inner dialogue? If you could just sum it up in one emotion. Oh, never mind, you wrote them. Okay, gratitude, content, excited, enthusiasm, satisfaction, love for life, authentic, happiness, vulnerable, zest, elation, joy. Okay, now my next question, guys. For anyone that picked an emotion, yes or no, if for any reason at all you've ever felt that emotion, even for a brief moment of time. Beautiful. We're going to do a 1-minute exercise. Okay. I want to encourage you because, see, the subconscious mind, if we haven't felt this emotion in a long time, it can forget how to give you the chemical signature of it. So if I'm in anger all the time, or if I'm in fear all the time, or if I'm in dissociation all the time, and I'm like, I want to feel joy, and I haven't felt joy in 20 years, my body's going to go, huh? Like, what is that? So we're going to let it taste it right now. Okay, so just a 1 to 2 minute exercise, and then we'll open it up to questions. Think of your emotion that you put in. And I want to encourage you to close your eyes and think of the moment in the past, for no matter how brief it was, that you felt it. See if you can relive that memory. Really make it as vivid as possible. And as you're reliving it, see if you can notice it in the body. And here are some questions that can help you. Like, when I think of this emotion, where in my body do I notice it? Is there a color? What color would I give it if there isn't? Is there a temperature? Is it warm? Is it cool? What shape is it? If you could touch it, what texture would it have? See if you can make that emotion bigger. Can you notice it in your body and give it more space? So coming back to the group, I want to encourage you guys, this is a suggested goal. This week, if you write down the answers to these questions, right? The question number one, if I really was safe to feel joy, passion, creativity, what would I see myself doing? 3 things. What would I hear healthy people saying about me? What would I be saying about myself? Allow your mind to kind of go over that, because what we're doing when we do this is we're instead of just letting our brain be the projector of the past, we're giving it a preferred target. But it's kind of like it's new, right? It's like I always use the illustration of taking my kids sledding. The first time we go down the hill, it's slow, right? But as we travel down it, it gets faster and faster. It's the same thing with this. We're kind of helping our subconscious to see another preferred possibility instead of who we had to be because of the trauma. Does that make sense? So let's open it up to questions. So that's my suggested goal. And the next week, we're going to build on this topic. So if you have a question, raise your hand and then I'll get to as many people as possible.